Good evening, everybody. I certainly hope you had a great day. This evening, I just kind of hit me. It's June 5th, 2020, and 7 years ago on June 6th, Dave came out of the hospital. He was in ICU in the LeConte Hospital in Sevierville for 30 days. Then he was in a specialty hospital at Fort Sanders for 30 days. Then on June 6th, he was transferred over to a rehab unit where his prognosis was very, very good. But unfortunately, he had a stroke, and that was kind of what made him pass away on June 19th. So I was on Dee Dee's channel tonight, and she said she never thought she saw a picture of him. I don't think I've ever shared any pictures of him here on YouTube. So this one, we went to while we lived in Sevierville, we went to the Dixie Stampede every year. And we always went on the 20th for his birthday, December 20th. So this was 2011. I don't know what happened to the 2012 one. It's gotten lost. But this was the 2013, 2000. Oh no, this is 2012. Yeah. And he passed away on June 19th, 2013. So that's what my Dave looked like. He loved cowboy hats. He loved knives. I mean, the man was obsessed with knives like I am with makeup. He had so many knives, swords, all kinds of things. He was just really into that. And he had a lot of hobbies. He just loved to create things. You've seen his paintings up on the wall. Let's see here. You see that orange one with the mountains? He painted that. That was my absolute favorite one of all. He called it Rose Mountain. He never understood why I love it so much. I just love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful painting. And there was a time we had about 30 of his paintings up on the walls. But over the years, we've moved from place to place, and we just didn't always have room for everything when we were moving. So, unfortunately, a lot of them got left behind. But I'm so glad I still have that one because it is my favorite. So, and he had a whole room to himself for his arts and crafts because he had so much stuff. He loved to do dioramas. He loved to uh, get those hobby kits with the tanks in them and the little men and all kinds of things. He'd spend hours just painting these things. And he loved to do airplanes in those hobby kits. He was just very, very creative. And he had to have a whole room for himself because there was so much there. So I think I took Facebook off my phone because I was looking for space. I'm going to have to put it back on. Unfortunately, I don't know yet how to do videos like of pictures for YouTube. I'm pretty computer savvy, but when it comes to stuff like that, I have no clue. I really should learn how to do that because then I could share some photos here. So, anyway, that's a lot about Dave. We actually met at a bar in 1982 on Friday the 13th. The wild child that I was, I went home with him and I literally never left. I had gone from my parents to my first husband to Dave. I'd never been alone. So, I was used to having somebody with me all the time. So, we broke up a few times during those first couple of years, but eventually we spent the rest of our lives together. So basically, from 1982 until 2013, we broke up twice. And the reason why we broke up was because when I first met Dave, he had no sense of responsibility whatsoever. This man would write a bad check and not even think about it. He really was kind of a bum when I met him, but he made me feel good. He cared about me. I had spent the first 25 years of my life being my parents' puppet, my first husband. I was just totally controlled by these people. I wasn't allowed to have my own feelings or allowed to talk about feelings. I mean, it was just a very strange first 25 years of my life. I really knew nothing about life. Absolutely nothing. I was so sheltered, like in a little bubble in my home. And the only explanation my father ever gave me, although he really didn't give it to me, I would have to overhear him talking to my stepmother or my grandmother. I have to protect her from that family, my birth mother's family. I don't know what it was all about. But my birth mother supposedly beat me. I don't remember. But apparently, after he divorced her, of course, she got custody of me. And I do remember being left alone at night. Even at 2 and 3 years old, I remember that. So eventually, my dad got custody of me, and he married the stepmother. And you've all heard that story. We don't need to get into that. But when I met Dave, I knew nothing about life. Absolutely nothing. I was either in my room or at school. I was not a happy child growing up. I was spoiled materialistically. All right. I had everything I could ever want. I had the car at 16. I had a TV in my room. We went on trips to Puerto Rico, to Las Vegas. We led the wealthy life, but as far as emotional love and support, I really didn't have it. My dad worked every single day of his life. He was a roofer. He had a very, very prestigious roofing company, very popular, very busy. So, I hardly ever saw my dad. And my dad had a lot of love in him, but, he was being influenced by a stepmother who told him so many lies about me. I got punished for things I shouldn't have gotten punished for. Anyway, that's it. But the point is this: I was never allowed to speak up, never allowed to say no. I had to do what I was told 24/7 from the age of 5 up until the age of 25. That was it. So when Dave met me, he couldn't understand why I never said no to him. He'd say, "Let's go do this." I said, "Fine, we'll go do that." "Let's go do this." "Fine, we can go do that." And it drove him nuts. He says, "Girl, can't you ever say no?" I said, "No, I've never been allowed to say no. I've always had to do what everybody else tells me to do." It took him 2 years to get me to say no to him. He actually brought me out of my shell. He helped me develop. Of course, I already had a personality, but it was so deep within because it was never allowed to come out. So Dave really, really taught me about life, taught me about things I never knew. I didn't like school. I was so unhappy at home. I didn't do that well in school. I just didn't care. When you're in a situation at home where you're not happy, you really just don't care about anything. So it wasn't really until I met Dave that he allowed me to start coming out, speaking my mind, things I was never allowed to do for 25 years. So he changed my life. And he was the first person who ever cared about me as a person. He cared about my needs as a person. And he changed my life. He was my rock. He was my savior. He just opened up the world to me. And it's him we all have to thank for letting me blossom. And I wouldn't be the woman I am today without him. So we went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but we stuck it out and we stayed together for 32 years. So it took me a good 4 years to actually start recovering from his death. I was a singer, as you know. Dave always encouraged that. We went to karaoke nights on Fridays and Saturdays, and I'd get up and sing. He even went so far to try and make a band for me to perform with in Tucson when we lived there. He interviewed a couple of people that really didn't pan out, but he wanted me to do what I wanted to do so badly, you know, and he really encouraged my singing. He's the one that encouraged me to send the tape to Nashville when the Nashville Network was airing the Charlie Daniels Talent Roundup, and I sent it in. They loved me. We went to Nashville and just fell in love with the area. I didn't make it on the show. I would have, but it got canceled before that all happened. So, but we moved to Nashville in 96. 96. So, from 96 until 2013, we lived in Tennessee. We lived in Hermitage, which was like 5 minutes from downtown Nashville. We were there for 3 years. Then we moved to Murfreesboro for 3 years. It's so funny how it's all 3 years. Then from Murfreesboro, we went to Sevierville, where I worked at Dollywood for 3 years. And then after he passed away, I came back to Nashville. So, Tennessee has been my home for a long time, and I miss it a lot, actually. But even though I miss Nashville, as far as environment, government, and peace and solace, Vermont has been the best move for me. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the reason I came really doesn't exist anymore, but in the end, I think it was the best decision I ever could have made for myself. Vermont is a lovely place to live. Yes, it's expensive, but the government here, they care so much about their residents. You don't have to jump through hoops to get help like Medicaid or food stamps. Our community is amazing. We have a wonderful food share here. It's, what do you call it? The pantry. In other places, you call it a food pantry. We have one here. We've got a little front porch forum online, which is like a neighborhood forum where everybody comes on and we offer help. We ask for items. This community has been amazing to me. I've gotten my bed. I've gotten my mattress. I've gotten furniture. I have gotten so much stuff. I've gotten free rides from neighbors when I was without a car to work. The community is amazing. So, even though the person I came here to be with has turned out to be, let's just say, a huge disappointment, I still love this person. I have just been hurt so bad that it'll never be the same. So, thankfully, I still have the rest of my family, and I'm just very, very happy. You've seen this beautiful apartment that I have. You've seen the cat from hell. He can be such a sweetheart when he wants to be, but boy, oh boy, get that cat mad. And as Grandma Ducky, we said, he's an effing cat. You effing cat. He will just outright bite you sometimes when he just feels like it. So he's just an ornery boy. But anyway, that's the story of my life with Dave. He really was my savior and my rock for so, so long. And the whole worst thing about it is that my dad died in 2011. So when Dave died, both of my rocks were gone. And it was really, really a hard, hard road. And I'm just so glad I found my family. I'm so glad I'm here and enjoying my life. I have a fantastic job. I have a lovely YouTube channel here that I love so much, and I've made so many wonderful friends. I love all of you so, so much, and I thank you for making my life much better than it ever could have been. So, thank you all for your friendship and your support. And I just wanted to, show you my man. He was my man for 32 years, so there you go. He always had his hats on because he was a little bit bald on top. But there he is. All right, guys. Have a good evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.